The city has been accused of attempting to hold citizens responsible for making up for a poorly managed budget. One example is last year's proposed rate increase for storm drain services. What is your position on how the city does or should manage its budget? The first to respond, Ms. Doty.
I get two? Oh, that's right. There's only 5 of us, and you have 6 questions.
It's a random drawing.
It was bound to happen. Okay, the rate increase on the storm drain. Well, also, when I was on council, there was a rate increase on the water and sewer. One of the problems is I think that prior councils have been unwilling to face the reality that you have to rebuild your infrastructure from time to time. If you don't, it's like that bridge in, where is it, Minneapolis, it falls down. In the case of the water and sewer, some of those pipes have been in the ground for 75 years. The thing that was holding them together was the clay soils. I know that the storm drain is a problem in the area of town that I live in. When there's a heavy rain, it surcharges. The water actually comes up out of the drains instead of going down them. I don't think that the city's trying to make the citizens of Woodland make up for bad budgeting. I think what may be happening is that the rent's coming due, and somebody is going to have to pay for this. I know that when we did the rate increase, we spread it out over many more years than the staff wanted. They wanted it to hit all at once, and we spread it out over several years. I know that the rate increase on the storm drains failed. I'm sure it's going to come up again. You have to maintain your infrastructure. The people were very happy to vote to improve things like the roadways, because you can see that. The stuff is all underground and you don't see it, but it's equally as important to keep your city healthy and to keep you able to meet your obligations with the state for things like water discharge.
Thank you. Mr. Monroe?
Thank you. Well, personally, I would never accuse the citizens of this community of any wrongdoing with our budget. The budget lies solely upon the city council. What happens or does not happen is our responsibility. We need to be able to live within our means, and we do. We have to balance our budget every year. We did some things right and we did some things wrong on the storm drain fee increase. I do think there is a need for a storm drain fee increase, but the right thing we did was to put together a citizen committee to address the problem. And we put some very prominent citizens on that committee, and they came back with a recommendation to our council, which our council did not follow. And I thought that was wrong. That went down on a 3-2 vote. We did not follow their recommendation. And I think that was right there, laid the groundwork for why it didn't pass. Secondly, I believe at times we're going to have to ask the community for money. People want services. Services don't stay static. The price for those services keep going up. And the problem that came up was the city actually voted on the storm drain fee increase. And I think that's just not right. When we have to go to the citizens and ask for money, it should be the citizens that make that decision. And I lost that vote on a 3-1 vote. But the city did actually vote for a storm drain fee increase. And I just do not think at any time government should get into a position where they're trying to influence a vote, even when there's great need.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Lopez?
That's been a subject that's been brought up a lot as far as the storm drain fees and our infrastructure. I've had the by happenstance talk to some of the city workers when they were doing their inspections of some of the lines and stuff that run under the city and the water drains and stuff like that, and they have some very interesting equipment which diagnoses and lets them know which pipes are in need of repair and which are not. And I think that's a good way that the city has spent some money on diagnosing actually something before they tear up the ground and look at it to fix it. But I think that the city council, like you said, on that vote that you had on that specific item, could have been a little detrimental. But I think if the citizens are given a clear explanation of what it is going to take to repair some basic functions that the city has as far as the drains and some of the sewer problems that they're talking about and addressing, the people aren't going to cut their nose off to spite their face. If they understand that there's a problem with something and the city is reaching out to them and telling them, look, this is what we're facing and this is what we have to do, I think a good compromise can take place and the problem can be taken care of.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
Well, I believe the problem's been elaborated by Jeff and Marty and even Mr. Lopez here. We need good politics, we need communication. The citizens sooner or later have to mount the bill for the culture we live in. But I want to return to the fact that Jeff seems to misunderstand this housing situation, and that to insist that we can do better on housing is going to put too much pressure on the developers. And the problem that he's operating under here is that restoring the American dream, not returning to the old paradigm and hoping that does it, because it never has done it in the last few decades, and it won't do it again. You got 60% of our population that can't afford to own a home. We need to take some dramatic steps. We can use community land trusts, LLCs, to operate a homeowners association on that fairgrounds parcel and create a situation where we can provide home ownership for $100,000. The modular homes at 1,200 square feet over at Western Homes are available for $40,000. And the rest of it's not going to cost more than up to $100,000. And we can reduce the infrastructure and create a model of environmental sustainability. At the same time, we're achieving the goals of affordable home ownership, not affordable rental housing. Woodland has a long history and tradition, stretching back for more than a century, a proud tradition of home ownership and home building. And I believe in all my heart that this is fertile ground for the restoration of the American dream. It can be done. Can I have a rebuttal?
Yes, you may, and then we will offer Mr. Pimentel a chance to respond to the budget question so that everyone has had a chance to respond. But yes.
Well, I don't think the American dream has ever left us. I think through hard work and perseverance, the American dream can be achieved, even in Woodland. I love Woodland. I think it's a great community. I think, there's opportunities are boundless here. Can we do more? Yes, I've said that over and over and over. But I've also said we have to be flexible, and there are limits. But as far as the American dream, this is a wonderful country. This is a wonderful community. I love this city, and you know what? The American dream can be achieved here. I don't need any more.
Thank you. Mr. Pimentel, would you like me to read the question
Could you
one more
please?
time?
I forgot what it was now.
Yeah.
Yes, that's no problem. The final question was, the city has been accused of attempting to hold citizens responsible for making up for a poorly managed budget. One example is last year's proposed rate increase for storm drain services. What is your position on how the city does or should manage its budget?
Well, I think we're doing a pretty good job. I've heard the same accusations from citizens, and I am happy with the process in the last 4 years that we have taken of prioritizing safety, raising wages for our employees, for our police officers, for our firefighters. I'm proud of supporting a lot of the programs, the Parks and Recreation programs, of some senior programs, and so it is all about balance. And with the storm drain, for example, people are paying 48 cents. Which has not been increased since 1992, and everything is going up. The cost of water is going up. The cost of fixing and paying employees to upkeep and operation and maintenance of these systems that are very, very old, especially in some of the older parts of town that are 100 years old, 75 years old. So I think it is about educating our community, and I think for the most part they understand that it costs money to run the city, to make sure that their lights are on, that their garbage is clean, that their storm drain goes when it has to, when it rains, and so forth. So, and it also takes a lot out of the budget in terms of running safety. It's 2/3 of our budget, of our general fund budget goes towards safety. So we need to prioritize it, and I think the city of Woodland in the last 4 years has done a good job in doing that. And also, we have a new city manager that has a 10-year vision plan for the budget, and I think we need to continue working on that so that we don't, that we balance our budget on a yearly basis.
Thank you very much.